Good morning, everyone. This is Biz Chicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today is Wednesday, so we are here with Coach Caren Fern all the way from Toronto, Canada, talking about bringing those profits in daily. I want to give a shout out to my co-host, Miss Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. She's on site filming for some various entities. And I'm Terralina from California Cover Ups, and we're the Biz Chicks. So sit back, relax, let's enjoy the conversation because if you don't have your wealth, hey, can you really enjoy your health? Okay, let's go.
It just works on both sides, and you
It
see that
does.
it just
If
works
you
on
don't
both
have your
sides.
health, you can't enjoy your wealth. If you don't have your wealth, can you really enjoy your health? Because you're worried all the time, and that
Right?
will make you set up disease like high
Mm-hmm.
blood pressure and all
Yes,
that.
yes.
Worry
It
is
just
not a good thing.
it just stresses you out. It is no fun not knowing how you're gonna pay or do this next. It's just hard. It's just
Mhm.
really, really hard.
It
And
does. I think that's why a lot of people give up and go back to quote unquote work
yes, yes,
because they like the stability of knowing there's going to be a paycheck. Well, we
yes,
all like that, but a
yes.
lot of us are trying to stay, what do you call it? Set ourselves up for independence.
Yes, because that's what it should be. When you are independent, I would say like this Italian guy years ago, we talked about it, and he says, you remember, I was in a meeting seminar, and he said, remember, he says, and I'm going to speak from my side, when the Italians came over here, most of them came over here because they were tailors, they cook, and they did construction. And
Hmm.
so even when they get a job, they'll be in the job, but they have their side hustle. If they were cooks, then they're cooking and inviting people to eat. If they were construction guys, then if somebody needs something done, they get it done. And then he said there was this old guy who was a tailor, and he came and everybody was trying to help him get a job. And he said, why would I do that? And he said he was in the street with them, and he keeps saying, why would I do that? And he said, you guys need pants? And everybody was like, well, yeah. And he's like, good, let me sew you three pants. You know, he started making his pants, and then when somebody had a function, he made everybody's suit. You get your fabric, and he would import it from Italy, and he would make it. And he said, I don't know how long it took, but all of a sudden, if you needed a suit, you know where to go. And he just kept making suits till he was well known, and that's what he did, because he said, that's what God put me down in this earth to do, make suits. I know you want me to do something else, but I really don't work on the what other people want. I work on the what God wants for me. And he said that was really an eye opener for him as a young kid, because he says he keep asking after them, like, what is he supposed to do? He would never go into, like, when the teachers ask what you want to be, he never said what I want to be, or you say he never asked his kids what they want to be. He would always ask them, you need to find out what you're supposed to do. Like, why were you born and what are you supposed to do?
What
That's
were you designed to do?
yes. Yes, not what you want to do. What were, because when you ask the question, he says it just comes. And if you're paying attention, you hear it, you find it, right? But some of us, it takes a long time to sink in, because we humans like to see it up front. We don't like to go through the journey to get there, even though we understand we have to, but we don't like that.
I think also we get distracted by, well, this occupation pays more than that occupation. And if I want to be wealthy, then I need to go for that occupation, even though I'm not wired to do that. And so we have to start tapping into what are people wired to do.
Yes, yeah. And
If
that's why you have to ask and answer that question, because then it reveals itself to you. And could you imagine if you were a child and you start knowing what you were supposed to do and you went after it like nobody's business? I tell you, it's no shock that if you're in your 20s and you're doing well, it would be no shock to your body, your system, that you're in your 30s and you retire. It shouldn't be a shock, because you understand. Because part of our lives, what I get to realize is, we're supposed to work very hard and educate ourselves. Then we're supposed to work very hard on ourselves. And then we supposed to turn back around and serve somebody else, which is when the
Exactly.
philosophy come into play. But if you don't start and get there, you don't get a chance to do that. You don't get a chance to just live your true dream. I was telling a friend of mine yesterday, about that. I said a friend of mine had a son, and he said he's going to be a millionaire by before he was 30. And boy, did he come in close. I think he was 28 when he became a millionaire, and he was not kidding. He said, I'm going to go to university. I'm not going to waste money because what university is going to teach me is not what God wants for me. And she was a Christian. He hardly go to church, but he was so in tune with God versus going to church that she couldn't fathom.
With the ritual.
Yes.
He was into the ritual and
Yeah.
into the relationship.
Yes. Yes. And he stuck with it. He says, when I met him, he was on his journey with. He says, and when he told me this, I was like, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, my mom and dad, I didn't go to university. I'm one of her disappointed child because she got four of us, but I'm the one who's not going to go anywhere because I don't need it, because I believe in the gift that I was given. I said, gift. He's like, I'm a sales guy and I'm a computer nerd. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I can touch a computer. I can see a computer. I don't even have to go inside and I know what's wrong with it. And I also know how to train
Wow.
people. And I'm like, what? He goes, yes, you can't go to school for what I have.
It was innate.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he said when he finished high school, he told his mom he wasn't going to go to university. And she was really sad because he used to say when he was young, he wanted to be a lawyer. And she could see him in this position because he was very argumentative. But he said he knew that there's some point in his life in junior high school that he knew that he was going to look after computers. He's going to train people. Like he could see. The thing was, I saw myself doing it. And didn't matter who spoke to me, I didn't listen to them. Like I stayed with what I saw.
And it just clicked over there.
Just
that skill, that what she saw in him was wired to do this.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But he stuck to it, and it caused him a lot of heartache. I know I'm going off a little bit, guys.
And
but
criticism. Let's talk about that.
Oh boy, did it ever! Did it ever? She feel ashamed in her church because this kid is going after his dream and not going with the quote unquote lineup. His first job, she said, Caren, he got his first job, and he told them, he said straight up, I don't want a salary. I want you to give me a percentage of what you're gonna make. And he said the guy was like, what? You don't want to work for money? He goes, no, I want a percentage of what I'm going to make this company make.
We wanted to work on commission. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he said it was strange. He didn't know it was strange, but he got in there and people thought he was the strangest kid ever. But that's when he started making his money. He's the person who said it. He says, Caren, it's nothing like sales. People are afraid of it, but it's the best thing you can do with yourself because you learn to manage you well. Nobody has to tell you what to do. You just self-propelled and you get up in the morning, you know when you're going to go to sleep, and you know all the training you need to get you there, and you just do it. And you just keep doing it.
I think the thing when you say, there's nothing like sales, I think we really complicate sales.
We do.
And I think we really, what do you call it? Villainize sales.
Yeah.
Because we think about things like used car salesmen or people that have been abrasive to us.
Yeah.
We don't want to be that. But if you think about sales, because when you were talking about this is what came to my mind, because my mind's always clicking when you're talking. What came to my mind was Girl Scout cookies. When you call your neighbor, because I used to sell Girl Scout cookies. Well, you're going to call your neighbor. You're going to ask her, you're going to go across the street and ask Mrs. So-and-so, does she want cookies? And you have the cookies in the bag, and your brother's standing there on the sidewalk. Make sure you don't get snatched or something crazy. Or your mom's sitting on the porch watching you go from door to door.
Yes.
And you're just asking your neighbors, do they want cookies?
That's it. And that's how simple sales is. That's how simple sales is. And if somebody said no, you move on. That's how true.
Thank you so much. But if you ever need any, I sell cookies every year.
That's it. You don't pressure anybody. And because somebody I told this to, I think it was on Monday, I was saying sales is really, a client of mine, I was saying to her, I said, sales, it's just we saying we complicate it. We complicate it for no good reason. You cannot be ashamed. If you're ashamed of your product, then you don't need to sell that product.
And I don't know if it's a matter of being ashamed. I think it's a matter of we read so many books that we think we don't know what we're doing.
We do.
Seriously, someone says, here, read another book. And you're like, oh my God, another book. Well, I can't have time to read the book, so I'm not going to call anybody because I haven't read the book. You see how that goes?
Yeah. Where left field? Where left field? Unnecessary. Unnecessary. And,
When
you know, I hope that's what I bring to my clients when they get coached with me, because I really am cheering them on to understand that they can do what it is they set out to do, and I'm their biggest cheerleader. Their biggest accountability buddy, and I'm seeing for them what they at the point can't see for themselves. I'm
mm,
helping them see. I'm opening that door. I'm shining that light and say, here's where you're going towards. Don't look left. Don't look right. Keep going straight ahead. Because when you do this, you honestly see improvement. The only thing that's stopping you, and I put that yesterday, is you standing in your doorway. You don't want to go any further, right? And you're
mhm,
gonna lead me right into today's conversation. And I'm just talking about my job as a coach. That's what we're gonna discuss today. And I'm talking about it because it's about money, it's about mindset and the things that I help people do. And way before, when I talk about where my life started with my orange, when I sit back and really look back, it started way before then. But at the time, I never saw it as how it was, and just different conversation. And anytime I'm in a spot where I'm questioning something, God always bring my mind back and remind me stories so that I can see and understand how how far back he was guiding me, how
mm,
far back he was setting me up to be a really, and I'm going to say it, a powerful coach. He was setting me up a long time, but I didn't understand what was happening in that process. So I remember this cousin came to see us, and because I always a questioner, always inquisitive, and I was wondering, I keep asking my great aunt, because I'd never seen the lady before. She says she's going through a hard time, Karen. That's why she's here, and we're gonna help her out. I'm like, but I didn't know about her. She goes, yes, she just lost her husband. She got 3 kids, and she's never worked in her life, so she came to see what she can do.
mhm,
In the country, and she came to town. And I guess to some degree, she started learning the craft of making our homeland snacks, because I guess my aunt was going to teach her so she can go back home and have some kind of ways of being able to provide for these 3 kids. She owned her own
mm,
house and stuff, but she didn't have a way of the day-to-day provision. And she was making these things we call drop. It's a coconut drop. And I remember saying to her, you're making them too big because you're not going to make any money. She
ah,
said to me, what do you mean I make money? And I let her put the coins down, and I said to her, this is what the coconut costs, this is what the sugar costs, but you don't make any money for you doing it. So when you buy
mhm.
back the coconut and the sugar, you still don't have any money left. And she said, how do you know this? I said, I like counting. I
There
just
you
like
go.
counting. I would say to her. And she said, so what am I supposed to do? And I didn't think she thought I had the answer. And I said, you're dropping them too big. I said, you need to get so much out of the one coconut for you to make money. And she said,
Mm,
but the customers would know it wouldn't be they wouldn't buy it, it wouldn't look as big. I said, okay, so let's test it out. And she did it, and we got double the amount, and nobody said anything. They paid the same money for the same amount.
it's just like when they reduce the amount in the cereal box.
Right?
We pay the same price, but we're getting less. And
Thank
they
you.
tell us on the outside we're getting less. They
Thank
tell us how
you.
many ounces.
Nobody reads it. Nobody realized until they open, and they're like, what
This is
happened?
this is half full. Mm-hmm.
Mhm. And that's what businesses do up to today. And again, tell my friend yesterday, I said, we would like to think that business and people want to sell you the idea that business has changed. Business marketing and sales hasn't really changed. It just packaged up differently. So
Mm-hmm.
you think it changed. It's the same thing, just as simple as you say. You go over to next door neighbor and you tell her about the cookies, and she either want to buy them or she doesn't.
Exactly.
So it hasn't changed. You either want to buy what I have or you don't want to buy what I have. or you want to buy it and whine that you bought it.
Which we tend to do about a lot of stuff.
Yes. So it hasn't really changed. People are doing the same thing. And the reason manufacturers and businesses start packaging less and not because if they raise the price, they recognize they wouldn't sell as much. So to be able to make the profit and still
Mm-hmm.
pay people, they have to hold their hands back because the raw material has risen.
Uh,
It's got more expensive. It,
the price. The
So they
price of
have
raw
to.
materials. Okay.
Yes. So they have to, as a business owner, find a way to make it still fusible, still sellable, still marketable, and still make a profit. Because
Mm.
when I make a product, I have to, out of each product, I have to pay a worker, I have to pay my overhead, I have to pay for my admin. Every product has to pay for those things.
Mm-hmm.
Every product, and I still have to get a profit off of it, right? And I got to pay myself. Everything has to happen in each product, even if it was a penny. I had a client a long time ago, and she was so irritated with me that I wanted her to take out 5 cents for the salt she added to the product. Yes, 5 cents, because the 5 cents 4 times is 20 cents. And
Mm.
over time, it becomes $1. This is why, percentage wise or whatever wise, businesses will take a half a cent. And people
Uh-huh.
say, how? They have to because two halves make a whole.
And that's how they inch our taxes up too.
Yes.
We're going to raise the taxes a quarter of a cent. We're like, okay, we can do a quarter of a cent times a couple of million people.
All right. All righty then. The small beginning, the small things that happen that just propel you. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying this to you is whatever it is you came here to do, you have been getting the signals and the signs from very young. Whether you understand or nurtured it, it was always there. And when you're working in your best self, you
Mm-hmm.
feel it and you know it. And you don't have to explain it to anybody. I know you want to, but you don't have to. You don't have to explain it to them. You don't have to verify it. No. If it's yours and that's what you're supposed to do, you just need to do it. If you're not
Mm.
sure, you need to find out how to do it. And you need to allow the experiences to teach you where you need to go next. And it truly does. There's no other way to explain it. It truly takes you from wherever you are to wherever you need to be in steps. It's not an overnight thing. It takes a while, but in steps. I was watching a YouTube channel the other day, and the girl was saying, I became a millionaire 10 a success 10 years in the making, but it happened in 4 months. This is 10 years in the making, but it happened in 4 months.
And then, and everybody wants to say, well, the Bible says, and suddenly, right?
Yes, yes,
Overnight.
yeah,
No. And I keep telling people that when you're on that job, you are honing the skills
yes,
that you're eventually going to be using in your body.
yes, yes, yes. If he see that you need a certain job, that job, that's where those books and those things that they talk about on YouTube, those they talk about finding, think and grow rich. It's from the Bible he pulled it out from, and he's talking to us in layman terms so that he figured that's the way he could explain it to us. But he's not telling us anything new. He's just packaged it up differently. So if we were reading, we would know this. And every chapter that he's have in this book called Caren or Terry or whomever, there is these steps that he wants you to take. And if he feels that having a job would help you learn some skills, that's where he'll place you. You go for a job. Let's say you're applying for a job and you didn't get the job. The job wouldn't serve you on the journey that you're on. That's why you didn't get the job. You need to see it that way. Don't look at it as somebody blocking you. That wasn't for you. Question why and what comes next so that you can work in that what comes next versus feeling disappointed, let down, and angry or upset or even sad. Like pay attention to why that door was closed. Or if you're in a job and you're being pushed out, investigate what's next, why you need to leave this specific thing. It didn't matter how much it's paying you, it didn't matter the lifestyle. If it's time for you to leave, it's time for you to start the new chapter. There's a new
Mhm.
chapter starting. So you got to be able, willing, and you might lose a lot of things to get to this next chapter, but that's okay.
I hear you. It's going to take sacrifice.
Hmm. Hmm.
But when you get there, remember that things are replaceable.
Yes.
Remember, things can be restored, will be restored.
Restored. Yes. 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 And that's what
It
it
will be
does, you
restored.
know. That's what
And then let's get some perspective. I was looking through Facebook, and someone was saying that their daughter has been um, diagnosed as being positive for the virus.
hmm
You know, when things like that happen to your children, it gives you perspective, does it not?
It does.
About what's really important
Important. Yes.
and
Yes.
setting your priorities straight.
Yes. It does. It does. It does. I said something, see something like that in Facebook about this lawyer who, she and all her kids and her husband got hit with the virus. And one after the other got sick, and she's watching her little babies, and she can't get up and do anything because she's just lying there weak and couldn't move. And you can't tell the babies not to be around the mom. They can't isolate her because everybody's sick anyway. So everybody's just right there,
Everybody's quarantined, self
quarantine, and,
quarantined.
and right there, and she can't get up and do anything. And we get to see these parts. And I go back to, I know everything is not a straight line, but when you have the opportunity to be born in a place where you get a chance to either go get an education or do stuff, and you negate on that, then when life start being interruptive for you, you see how much time you had wasted in the beginning when you're supposed to do whatever you were supposed to do. And you really see that, you got to take opportunity. So it's
Mhm.
gone. What are you going to do now? If you get better and you're here, like what is your next move? And really do that next move. Don't worry about the rest. Just do that next move. That's always my thing. Like just do the next move, because progress is a slow crawl. Progress is don't happen like that. Even though you want, kind of a person like things happen yesterday. I'm not gonna lie. But over time, I've learned that progress happen with all those minute steps that you don't think
I
is
see.
important. Mhm.
Celia says good morning. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
good morning, Cecilia.
yes, we're talking about, you know, having your mindset around business and the fact that, sales are very simple. Go back to your Girl Scout cookie days if you ever sold Girl Scout cookies or sold anything for the school, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like how I want to make money such an everyday topic. That's why I talk a lot about it. The same thing I'm doing with sales. I just want people to know that it's doable. It's okay if you're in business to sell because you have to, and if you're not in business, you are selling for the company you're with. Everything you do is part of the sales. It's part of the marketing.
I
Everything you do.
Everything you do. Okay, did you finish that?
Everything you do.
Okay, so I think the reason why we look at sales as being something that we're, I don't know, not really something that's high on our priority list, because we think of it as we're begging people to take something, or we're interrupting them. We got all these excuses, when in fact, if you have something that helps people,
You got to look at it as a helper, as a helping tool.
yes, do you need this help?
Yep.
Because you do, or I have a solution for that. Do you
It's
have?
a helping tool. It's just the money's a helping tool.
And business is having the right product for the right customer at the right time.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
people could have been sewing masks for 10 years,
Yes.
but who knew that this would happen and suddenly they would need them?
Right.
Although it's been going on in other countries
Hmm.
for years. I mean, I don't know how many years have we been looking at people wearing masks in China?
A long time.
We thought it was the pollution,
Yeah.
remember?
Yes. Yes.
So oh, they just had those masks on because of the
Yeah.
pollution.
Yeah.
They had those masks on because it was flu season,
Hmm.
and they're in the habit of covering their mouth.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Because they wear them here all the time, and I usually say that when we had SARS, we said it's because of SARS. Anything that we had, hi Brenna, we said good morning. We keep thinking it's because of that specific thing, but it's just so much other things that attach to it, and they knew, and so they're like, okay. I'm going to wear this. I mean, lots of them used to wear gloves even before the pandemic started. Like, I've taken a bus and seen them with gloves and mask way before this happened.
Because they came from a place where they understand that the transmission can be very serious. And I had a coworker back in the 90s. She used to wipe off the door handles in the bathroom. I was like, what is she doing? She said, my mother's a nurse. I wipe down everything. I'm like, and we worked in the disability department. Okay.
Oh, then you better wipe down.
Well, we did disability insurance.
Oh, insurance. Okay.
But it was just the idea. We thought she was freaky. Like, is she a germophobic or what?
But you see, that's what we do with people. We put them in a box and decide where they are, and and people know this, and so they react to that before it happens. Because if it's not the norm, nobody understands it when it's not the norm.
Usually, when it's not the norm, it means people just haven't caught up.
Yes, you're ahead of your time. I always tell people cleaning is different than in disinfecting. So when you go into a building or a home and you're cleaning, you're just cleaning. You're cleaning up stuff. You have to understand the difference. If you're disinfecting a clean home and you're just going in for maintenance or disinfection purpose, you'll be doing what you just spoke of. You'll be doing all the hot spots, touchy areas. You'll be wiping down, disinfecting. You have to understand it. The client also have to understand the product and what's going on, because some things, when it's too seasoned to your body, doesn't work anymore. So there's a whole bunch of things I'm not going to get into, but you have to think about those things. It's a whole screw of things that you have to think about. And that leads right back again into our business when we're doing the fear, the responsibility that we know innately, even if we don't know every step in business, that scare the pants off of us. When we think, there's a lot of people want to start a business, but when they think about the thing as a whole, it feels too big. Rather than think about sections, everybody think of things in a whole. And when you think of it a whole, it's hard. Some people don't get married because they think they run down the list about being with a person for a long time, getting children, having to plan this. They just can't handle it in their head. At least that's what they think. And even if they are married, that's why some people don't plan. Again, I was saying yesterday, if you go back and live your life, one of the big questions I would ask is what kind of money person you are. How do you handle money in stress situation? Do you freak out? Like, these are questions you should ask your spouse before you get married to them, because if they're that kind of a person, and that is just a tiny bit among every other thing else you need to ask them. And even if you love them to pieces and it's not lining up with what you need, walk away. Walk away, because it's going to bite you later. And that goes with business. We're back into business, Carolina always says business is like dating, and it's so true. It really is a true statement.
It really is. People just want to know, is it going to be a good date? Are we going somewhere I want to go to? Oh my gosh. You thought it was a good date because we went where you wanted to go. But if I'm not into, I don't know, horse racing, maybe I don't want to go to the races.
Wow. It's a whole different ballgame. It's a whole different ballgame. And my job as a coach is to hold people accountable, is to see for them what they can see for themselves, is to help them understand how their businesses work, how it run, because you're in the business of you before you're in the business of anybody else. So even if it's just personal, you're still in the business of you. You really get to live a really great, fulfilled life when you understand you. It's a lifetime thing, but understanding you to the point where you get to live is really good. You live freely. You get freedom, not because you don't have money, but you are so freeing. And let me tell you about being free. People jealous you. People make you feel bad for being free and feeling free. It's almost like if you're in a group of people and you're a free person, you might want to keep it to yourself if you're not comfortable. You might want to keep that to yourself.
Well, the problem with sharing all of that information is people think that you don't have a schedule. Oh, she's at home. Well, we can give her this assignment, and they'll start trying to put stuff on your plate. Oh, she's available. She's home.
Yep.
I've had people call me and ask me to do things because they just know that I'm home and I'm, you know, running a business, but they feel, oh, but her schedule's flexible. She
Yeah,
can do this.
yeah, yeah.
No.
No, no, no. So you have to keep that close to your heart. You have to enjoy that. You have to understand there's a lot of people would love to be where you're at. And even if they're not doing it consciously, subconsciously they'll step in and overstep. That's what they'll do subconsciously, because the human, and I say human, I always say just human, just a human trait that if you're not responsible in your own being, you do things without believing that it's affecting somebody. The domino effect, you hit one
Mhm.
domino down, everything tumble down. And people don't look at that because they're so selfish. Look at themselves. When I say to be selfish in growing your money and growing your wealth, people look at me, why? But you're selfish anyway. So this is a department you need to be selfish in so that you can do better. And I made this scenario up all the time. I'm like, think about it. If you don't look after you, you can't look after anybody else around you. And I don't care what you say to me. You can't look after them if you do not look after yourself. You can only give them this tiny percentage. You think you're doing a lot, but you're not, because you're not looking after you.
Wow. Well, we need to close on that note. That was a mouthful. Because it comes back to what we say every time. Don't forget to go to the front of
It's
your
time
own
to go
house.
online. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Wow. So you want to recap for us?
Oh my God! I always laugh at myself when I come in with a subject, but then I go further in that I thought I was going to go
I
in.
know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. But we were talking about the simplification of sales.
Yes, yes. I started out with talking what my job is, and that's what my job is. Being a coach and how I help people, and why I became a coach. I went into that and what my job is, and hoping that this was helpful in allowing you to see yourself in the role that you know you should be in. Not that anybody's chosen for you, but you know in your hearts of hearts, all the way down to your toe, that is what you're supposed to be doing. And all of life journey, if you're not there yet, it is lined up to get you there once you stay on course.
Wow. Wow. Whew. Okay, guys, you heard it here. Just stay on course. Do what you're wired to do. It should come easy. Like I know Brenna does jewelry. I
Mhm.
know she's very creative. Um, and then excuse me, and then she sells these products that solve people's problems.
Yes.
Cecilia, I've forgotten what it is you do. Could you put that in the chat? And we run a discovery workshop for biz chicks once a quarter. And this discovery workshop is to help you figure out what you're wired to do. Our parents told us we could do whatever we want. No, you can do what you're wired to do. Everything else is going to be a struggle.
Yes, it just comes naturally. It just comes naturally. Leaders just fall into their role and they don't have to be told. They just go in. If I'm anywhere and I didn't recognize it until somebody pointed out to me, I have always been a leader. I don't go in looking to see what people are going to do for me. Okay, let's get this together and let's move it along.
And that's the thing about being a leader. You're sitting there like, this agenda is not moving. We're not on task. And you're saying, now, do I really want to take this on?
You're right.
Because it's so innate in us to just say, you know what, guys, can we just
Yes.
and put this over here and put this and get this party moving? You know what I mean? Yeah. So sometimes you have to pull back and put that leadership into your business, into your family, into yourself.
Yes.
Start by leading yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, we just want to remind everybody that tomorrow is Thursday. We'll be here with happy habits, happy healthy habits with Robin Shimizu and friends. If you're looking for Coach Caren, you can find her on the web on Facebook under Profits in Daily. And also, Caren, do you have anything coming up?
I do have the 4-hour workday coming up. And that is systemization, that is getting you focused, getting you to be consistent, and getting you to see the possibilities in your business. Oh my God, that's what it's about.
Now that sounds like a winner. The price of the ticket right there, guys. So, if all hearts and minds are clear, we want to remind you, don't forget to go to the front of your own line. We want to thank you for taking time out today to drop into Biz Chicks, and we hope that we have given you something that will help you run a profitable business that's fun to run, easy to do. Okay, with that, we'll see you tomorrow, same time. Bye-bye.